Hello. Hi, Avery. Could you let me know how the audio is? Can you hear me? Can you hear the game? Are we balanced? Do I sound like I am talking into a tin can? Audio sounds fine. Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Because I will take your word for it. "3 months ago, the alchemist that lived in this house was murdered. If the music stays as volume the whole time, it should be. Okay. And now, we've got a situation of our own. There on the floor, in front of a terrified Maya, was the professor, now completely made of gold. What the heck is going on? I thought the professor was supposed to be meeting with the storyteller. And to make matters worse, now Maya's accused of being a witch. Is the music staying at the same volume? Alright, what we witnessed. I heard a scream and an incantation, and then when I entered the room, the victim was already all shiny.
Mayhap something caused discord between erstwhile friends. Mr. Silcat had a knife at the ready in his hand.
A what? Victim of magic, sparkly and done for. I heard the staff fall on the floor. The professor must have seen through Miss Maya's deception and confronted her right there, face to face. I see. Thank you all. However, one part of the testimony was somewhat confusing. You there, the singer. Singer? Could you possibly mean me, Birdley the Bard, Your Excellence? Yes, that would be you, singer. This staff that you said, sung about. It is as you suspect, my lord. This very witch's scepter. There are 2 different magic gems attached, meaning the perpetrator could have used 2 types of magic. Yeah, it would seem so. This gem here enables the use of a gold transmutation spell, Goldor. Goldor. Just the word alone makes the tiny hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Har har har, that's the one all right. That's the dreadful incantation that I, a mere punch-and-bog, I also heard.
Oh, dearie, dearie me! I've seen that scepter, so I have.
Clank tips over the golden man. The scepter falls, not the witch's plan.
Yippee!
Hi, Gray, how are you?
Oh, dearie, dearie me.
How dare she do that to the professor? By the way, this witch's scepter was found on the floor near the victim. If you'll turn your attention to the sketch plans, it was located right here. A scepter dropped by the accused would naturally tumble to exactly that spot.
Objection!
Inquisitor Barnum, what you're saying amounts to nothing more than a baseless assumption. You are on edge today, Sir Blue Knight. Is it because your friend is on trial? Perhaps you had better cool yourself down. Well, anyway, the court accepts the scepter as evidence. Thank you, my lord. Alrighty. Goldor transmutes the caster's target into solid gold. The spell will transmute the closest target within range. Inquisitor Barnum, may I ask you something? What is it now, Sir Blue Knight? We know that one of the gems is for the spell Goldor, but what about the other one? A naive question. Huh? Naivety may be no hindrance to a baker, but who spends most of his time amidst bread. But it could be your undoing here in court. Would a knight put a weapon in his enemy's hand? He's telling me to do my homework, huh? Mr. Wright, I'll look for information about that magic gem in the Grand Grimoire. Thank you, Espella. That would be great. Just leave it to me. He seems very happy to help. Defender may interrogate the witnesses. Alright, miss. What is that about the professor holding a knife?
Hold it!
Are you saying you think they quarreled?
The other day I saw you all together in this very court, and you were evidently friends.
Well, yeah, that's true. But what's that got to do with...
Now everyone, listen carefully. No chatting in the back row. What I say will be in the next exam. Miss Primstone's lesson number 5. Friendship leads to nothing but trouble. People would not break up and part their ways in anger if they did not become friends in the first place.
The kids in her class must grow up to be model citizens.
Oh, dearie, dearie me! What I saw in that room curdled the blood in my veins. Mr. Silkhat was pointing that glittering knife ever so threateningly.
Hang on!
Is everything okay, Luke? No, of course it's not okay. The professor was a true gentleman, and no gentleman would go around threatening people with knives. He's so mad. I couldn't agree more.
Silly boy! I saw your professor pointing a knife! Are you insinuating that I am a liar, you cheeky little whippersnapper?
The professor would never do that. You don't know him. At least Luke's found someone else to antagonize. Mr. Wright? What is it? I think there was some important information in Miss Primstone's testimony. Really? Oh, I'm sorry. It's not my place to say things like that. I didn't notice anything. What could that be? What was Espella about to say? Nah, speak, girl. Espella, why don't you tell us all what you've noticed? Oh, is that okay? It's just something I'd like to ask Miss Primstone about. Well, just go ahead and ask her. Excuse me, Miss Primstone. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Oh, it's you! Miss Espella Cantabella!
Miss Primstone, did you actually see the knife that Mr. Layton was holding?
I did, as a matter of fact. Yes, I remember that glinting blade very well. A most frightening sight it was, too.
And you saw that from the door, didn't you? Now, if we look at the sketch... When the incident took place, Mr. Layton must have been facing this way, correct? That must have been the case. Otherwise, the witness would not have been able to see it. Well, that's all I wanted to ask. The more information we have, the better, right? The direction the professor was facing. That could be important. This information shall be added to the court record.
Yippee!
I'm sorry I jumped in like that, but I really wanted to help. Not at all, Espella. We were able to get some more info, which may just come in handy. You think so? Now then, the next witness shall continue with the testimony. Are we just gonna ignore the fact that he's pointing away from Maya? Are we just... Okay, guys. If you say so. Heard a scream and an incantation. The victim was already shiny.
Hold it!
And, what is all this about exactly? What do you mean, Blue Squire? Your gaudy, colorful outfit. I mean, your attire was different last time. A little more modest. The Ymir you knew back then is no more. I'm a new man now, reborn into the higher echelons of society. What's he drinking? There's a skull and crossbones mark on that bottle. Blech. Yuck. Enough idle chatter. The witness heard a scream and an incantation. Is that correct? That's right. It's just like what you said earlier, Inquisitor Barnum. It was the spell Goldor, and it was without a doubt the voice of the accused that said it. My gosh. However, it is rather peculiar. When I saw the accused and the victim together last time... Thank you. Yeah, not what I would be drinking out of. Very true. Hi, Epic Pikachu. How are you? Hold on, guys. I'm gonna blow my nose. Ooh, I'm allergic to people saying the professor has a knife. The next witness will dispel your doubts, my lord. Doing okay? That's good to hear. Alright,
Hold it!
would you mind describing what you saw without singing about it? As you wish, my musically impaired friend. Simply put, when I entered the room, the victim was worth his weight in gold. For obvious reasons. He tipped over and fell heavily onto the floor. The room became drearily silent. And then, I heard that scepter tumbling across the floor.
Hang on!
May I ask you something, Miss Primstone?
Dearie, dearie me! Oh, dearie, dearie me! My dear, do not frighten me so. I feel like a schoolgirl caught napping during class.
Miss Primstone, did you see the witch's scepter at the crime scene?
Well, about that, I must confess I do not clearly recall.
You don't remember?
When I went into the room, the gold man fell down and made quite the ruckus. That is why I did not notice a scepter being dropped.
So you didn't see it after all?
But I am certain that witch girl had it. She must have been hiding it behind her back.
Objection!
Please don't assume Maya's a witch just because she's been accused. Miss Primstone is certainly quick to make assumptions. I see. Now we would like to hear the next witness's testimony. This next witness is a bit problematic.
Hold it!
Wait, face to face. I have something for that. Luke, open your eyes. Maya isn't a witch. Ever since we came to this town, lots of unbelievable things have been happening. And that's why, from now on, I'll only believe what I see with my own eyes. Luke. When I went into that room, the only people I saw were the professor and Maya. The professor had been turned to gold, and Maya dropped that scepter. That's not true. What? Maya? I didn't have any scepter, and we weren't the only ones in that— Silence! The accused has no right to speak. Be silent, or you will face punishment. We can end this trial immediately, should you decide to feel talkative again. I'm sorry. Well, Luke, is that really the truth? Huh? Did you really see the scepter? I don't know. When the professor turned to gold and collapsed right in front of me, everything seemed to fade to black. And then, I could have sworn I at least heard Maya drop the scepter. The scepter was found at the scene of the crime. That is the unavoidable truth. Only the accused could have dropped it. No! This isn't looking good. I feel so sorry for Luke. He's so full of anger and despair that he can't think clearly. He said he can't forgive the witch. I understand how he feels. Anyway, I need to find a way to calm Luke down first of all. And we're gonna do that by objecting to his claim? Alright, Phoenix. Face to face. Is the floor plan the one with the... Yes, okay, perfect.
Objection!
Luke, you said that you'll only believe what you see with your own eyes. But what you think you saw may not be the whole truth. Huh? What do you mean? Take a close look at the sketch of the crime scene. At the time of the incident, Professor Layton and Maya were standing here. Now, we've learned from Miss Primstone's testimony which way the professor was facing. He was facing this way. Oh! You've testified that the professor confronted Maya face to face. But looking at the sketch of where they were standing, one thing is clear. There's a contradiction in your testimony. Whoa! Oh my gosh, he's so little. Look at him. Little baby.
Objection.
Whether they were facing each other or not is of no relevance whatsoever. They were the only ones in that room. One was a victim, thus the other must be the witch.
Objection!
I'll ask you to wait before jumping to conclusions, Inquisitor. Think back to Miss Primstone's testimony. She told us that the professor was pointing a knife at someone threateningly. However, you could see in the sketch that he wasn't threatening Maya. So then, who was he pointing the knife at?
Hold it!
Luke, what is it? The professor would never point a knife at anyone. I was the one who opened the door to that room, so I was the first witness, and I saw no knife. Miss Primstone's testimony is not reliable.
Oh, dearie me! Will you look at this child sputtering nonsense and talking badly of his elders?
Was it a Barnum? Yes, my lord. It should pose no difficulty to verify whether or not the victim had a knife. After all, that sparkling golden body of his has been found at the scene of the crime, has it not? Indeed it has, my lord. Court attendants, you heard the judge. Bring the victim into the courtroom. Seems like they're going to bring the golden statue. Oh. Professor. There he is. Look at that. Did it get damaged in transit? Professor! Professor! This is the power of the gold transmutation spell. Most spectacular. It looks like work of the finest artisans. I assure you it is the work of no artisans, my lord. By the way, the missing arm has not yet been found. I can't believe this! Professor! I suppose we should add the victim to the evidence. The poor professor who, while searching for evidence, became evidence. No! The right arm is missing. This is unfortunate. I thought the evidence would be as good as gold. But although it technically is, we are still no closer to discerning whether or not the victim was holding a knife.
Hold it!
Let me speak, please! Maya. The professor didn't have a knife, and also, there was another person in that room. The real witch was there too. Please, believe me. Accused, do I really need to warn you again? Inside the cage, you are to behave like a bird that has forgotten its song. Speak again and you shall be punished. Or are you in a particular hurry to taste the flames of justice, little bird?
Objection!
But it's true that someone else could have been at the crime scene. This gives a new meaning to the saying, one an arm and a leg, yeah? At least he still has both of his legs, though. Look at the sketch. The victim was facing towards someone, and that person wasn't Maya. Sir Blue Knight, your ignorance is no longer even a surprise. Yeah, he's almost fully intact. Huh? You do not know what transpired at the crime scene. You think this man was pointing at another person, you say. Let me tell you this. Nearly everyone in this court, other than you, knows what Sir Hat was pointing at. What? Well, honorable witnesses, is that not so? Aye, a mere punch and bog, aye. Love me some gossip and stories of the occult. Elusive like mist, the magical beast, its chilling breath brings about death.
Oh, dearie, dearie me! You could use some education, Blue Knight. I can offer you private tuition, but it'll not come cheap.
If the professor wasn't confronting Maya... Witnesses, you will now testify. Tell us about this other presence at the crime scene. Oh my gosh. A shadow at the crime scene. We all know what happened to that alchemist, so this case is no mystery.
Same place, same magic trick. This time her luck ran out and she dropped that magic scepter.
The truth obscured by a twisted ruse. The witch couldn't vanish, but did confuse. It happened because the professor unraveled the mystery behind all these witches. None of you guys said anything. The same magic trick was used. They are referring to an incident from 3 months ago. Much like this incident, a man lost his life to witchcraft in that very room. It's the master of that residence, Sir Newton Belleduc, the alchemist. He suffered death by strangulation. Finger marks were left on his neck. He had locked himself in his study, and the key was still in his pocket. In other words, no one could have entered that room. Dun, 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 dun. Hi, Kimono, how are you? The perpetrator disappeared from a locked room, just like in this case. A large amount of powdered medicine was spilt all over the floor. Powdered medicine? Sir Belleduc was an alchemist. He possessed various medicinal concoctions. You really like the Dun 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 anime intro? I haven't heard it. I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little sleepy, but I took a nap before stream, so hopefully I'll be okay. How about you? How are you doing? Due to the presence of that powder, had anyone entered that room, clear footprints would have remained, yet there were none. Eepy cat indeed. That's the kind of mystery the professor would have loved to solve. Thus, there were two unnatural circumstances to Sir Belleduc's death. The culprit's disappearance from a locked room, and the fact that they appeared not to have walked on the floor, almost as if they flew away. In other words, it couldn't have been the Demir magic that was used in my case the other day. Seems like the killer levitated above the floor, strangled Belleduc, and vanished into thin air. Well, what does that have to do with this trial? It has been 3 months since that murder. Despite that, we still haven't been able to find the witch responsible. But now, having eluded us for so long, that witch has finally been brought before this court. We will have justice. What? No way. Now he thinks Maya killed the alchemist too. We weren't even here back then. But it's not like I can explain that to him. Good getting scared about Australia, but we ball. I believe in you. It'll be okay. Well then, why don't you interrogate the witnesses? Now that you're aware of the connection between the two murders.
Objection.
You can't be serious! 3 months ago, we weren't even... Defender, you may interrogate the witnesses. May their testimonies lead us to the truth. Well, I don't know about that, but we'll see.
Hold it!
You're talking about Mr. Belleduc's murder, which took place in a locked room. Yeah, a real shocker, alright. Everyone was talking about it. People don't say this out loud, but you know, eh? You're thinking it too, eh? I don't have the faintest idea what you're talking about. Ain't it clear as day? He was an alchemist! An alchemist! Alchemy's just like magic, ain't it? Sir Belleduc was a man. Only a woman can be a witch. What's more, witchcraft has nothing to do with alchemy. They're different. Somehow. Alchemy is the mysterious art of manipulating the forces of nature. Or so it is said. Well, that sounds a lot like magic to me. Alchemy's incomprehensible to regular people. It's all magic, really. And you know, a couple of days before the witch got him, there was that lightning that struck. Lightning? Glad you're asking, because I like telling that one. All of a sudden, like a bolt from the blue sky, there was this bolt from the sky, only it wasn't blue. The sky lit up and turned blood red, and then, out of nowhere, an old-looking bell tower appeared in a burst of flame. Makes you realize Mother Nature's pretty powerful stuff, eh? You've strayed off the topic at hand, witness. This is a courthouse, not an inn. Save your thrilling stories for later.
Hold it!
Would you care to elaborate on that, Miss Primstone?
You could say I'm a scholar, and my knowledge is vast and diverse. I know a thing or two about witchcraft. Therefore, I have a very good idea of the type of magic that must have been used this time.
The magic behind the mysterious figure that appeared out of nowhere, glided through the air, and vanished after making the kill?
Indeed, yes, and the witch's scepter confirms my theory.
A brilliant deduction. I am honored to have studied under an excellent teacher such as yourself, Miss Primstone. She was his teacher? Actually, I guess that kind of explains a lot. Our cult crime analysts have arrived at the same conclusion.
Mr. Wright! I found it!
The page about the purple magic gem. The spell's called Familia. Familia? What does it do? The spell Familia, bound within this purple gem, is used to summon a familiar. Familiars appear out of nowhere, fly through the air, and vanish when their task is accomplished. They're evil, bloodthirsty spirits used by witches to perform outrageous crimes. Evil spirits? Are you saying that the witch used a familiar to... It was a familiar that took Sir Belduke's life, and now it has appeared again. Sir Silkhat was probably trying to ward off the evil spirit with his knife. But what good is a knife against an occult creature? It completed the task given to it by the witch and promptly vanished. Thus bringing us to the conclusion that... Sir Belduke and Sir Silkhat were both killed by the same witch. What? What an unexpected turn of events. The two incidents have been shown to be connected, due to the same witch's scepter having been used in both cases. But, like, how do we know that? Familia, shadow familiar spell, summons forth a magical familiar from the shadows. Although it possesses a physical form, it is completely weightless. Oh, this is terrible! Now Maya is accused of 2 murders.
Oh, dearie, dearie me! I was right as always! This gruesome murder will be in the next exam. Make sure to take notes. Now I shall divulge what really happened.
We're all ears, Miss Primstone. The hat maker was pointing the knife at the witch's familiar.
Hold it!
Did you actually see the familiar?
Oh, dearie, dearie me! No, I did not. When that boy opened the door, the familiar had just disappeared. Had the boy opened the door sooner, no doubt we would have all seen it. If he were my student, I would have made sure to teach him not to dilly-dally.
He wasn't.
Hang on!
Is everything all right, Luke? You seem to be deep in thought about something. No, it's not right at all! Yeah, because a little kid should definitely be learning about gruesome murders. I know. What a wonderful teacher she is. Thinking deeply about following objection. Thank you so much for the follow, Embertail. How are you? Is there something in Miss Primstone's testimony that you'd like to comment on? That's what I keep telling you! The professor wouldn't point a knife at anyone. I'm alive, so there's that. That is true. That's a very good thing.
Dearie, dearie me! What an impertinent child! I'm telling you, I saw a knife! I distinctly saw the glint of a sharp blade.
Objection!
At any rate, as we can see now, the victim's arm is missing. As such, there's no proof that he had a knife.
Objection!
This is but a mere detail. It matters not.
A mere detail? Matters not!
Oh my. Anyhow, I wonder, where could that missing arm be?
Yeah, that ought to be looked into.
Hang on!
Mister, do you have something you'd like to share with us? Yeah, share with the class. Mr. Amir! It's Mr. Amir Punchybog the First to you, Bluey. The likes of you oughta show some respect for a future man of wealth such as me. You seem to be looking ahead to a future full of newly gained riches. I can look where I blidin' please. Anyway, why are you looking at me like that? I don't know about that golden bloke's right arm. Excuse me, Mr. Wright. What is it, Espella? I may be wrong, but there's something about that man. Wouldn't you say he looks, suspicious? You've just realized. It's not just you. Everything about him is so shady, it makes me want to double-check my pockets. Mr. Amir, stop pretending you don't know anything about the victim's missing arm. Pretending? I told you I know nothing. Nada. Zero. Nil. I ain't seen it, or heard about it, or put it in me pocket. He's the imposter, indeed. Put it in your pocket. It wasn't me, honest. Seriously, I got nothing to do with it.
Objection! Mia! You lying, cheating, good for nothing! You tried to deceive me!
He's so mad. Order, order. Who is that person? You want to know who I am? I'm Price the pawnbroker. And this man is a shameless, cheating bum. He had the nerve to lie to me. What did he lie to you about? I'll tell you. On the day of the crime, Amir came to my shop. He waltzed up to me saying he'd got his hands on a superb work of art, rare as gold dust. I think I know where this is going. I get it, his name is Price and he's a pawnbroker. Indeed. That work of art. Could it be? I've got it right here. No! Just like I thought. That's... oh my. Professor! It's the professor's arm! Where'd everyone else go? It's pure gold, exquisitely crafted. It was entitled, Towards Tomorrow, or something like that. I'd never seen a piece of gold so fine before. And so, suspecting nothing, I paid that rascal a rather handsome sum. Who would have thought? And what am I hearing now? That it was a human arm, no less? You, sir, are a monster! You're as bad as a witch's familiar yourself. James Bond called he wants his gold finger back. Oof. I didn't know it was his arm, I swear! When I saw it, it was already like that. What do you mean? I was last to the scene and it caught me eye right away. That golden arm pointing up at the ceiling with such optimism and authority. I thought, it looks like it's showing me the way to a better, brighter, richer tomorrow. To me, it was a work of art, a precious one at that. And then it found its way into your pocket and you pawned it. You mounted it on a crude stand, gave it a tawdry title, and passed it off as some kind of a sculpture. Don't try and look away from the truth now. Darn it! I can look wherever I darn please. I'll look away from the facts and forward to the future. Always look on the bright side. That's Amir Punch and Bog's motto. I love him. He's so funny. Oh no. No. Where were we now? Ah yes, the victim's arm has now been successfully reattached by one of our masterful craftsmen. Knights of the court, you may resume the Inquisition. At least one thing's clear now. As everyone can see, the victim definitely wasn't holding a knife.
Oh, dearie, dearie me! It seems I may have been mistaken after all. When you think about it, the victim had already been turned to gold when we entered the room.
According to the witnesses' testimonies, that was the case, yes? That's fraud, grand larceny, possession, is sale of stolen property, concealing evidence, tampering with evidence, and compromising a crime scene. Yup, lots of stuff. But did we expect any less out of a mere punch and bog?
Well then, I'm sure you'll concede that it was easy to mistake that glittering pointing finger for a knife.
Indeed, the victim's finger has a glint to it resembling that of a sword's edge. Such a sense of power and intensity. It's enough to send a shiver down the spine of anyone being pointed at. No puzzle is a match for the power of the professor's pointing finger. I guess no one remembers I'm known for pointing like that too. I think your pointing finger makes quite an impression too, Mr. Wright. He's going to prison for a long time. You know, maybe he'll be fed better there than he does right now. She's just taking pity on me. Is that all you have to say, Sir Blue Knight? Huh? As I said before, whether the victim had a knife or not is completely irrelevant. Yeah, what he said. You better apologize to me now. Badgering me for no reason like that. Is that all there is to it? Or could that arm hold some other clues? We've come this far. Maybe there's something else you could ask about. She's right. I need to ask some more questions. Well then, Mr. Amir. Perhaps you could tell me one more thing about that arm. Where was it lying? You found the arm on the floor, pointing upwards, you said. Yeah, I did. Finders keepers, I say. It was pointed straight up at the ceiling. The arm somehow happened to fall down in such a way that it landed upright. What are the odds of that? Actually, that reminds me of a puzzle. Now, if you could just show us on this floor plan here. I'd like to know the exact spot where you found the victim's arm. Sure, I remember that well. It was right there. Ooh. Yes. That's where you would expect it to have fallen. Now, if that's where it was, then something's definitely not right. If you keep looking at that sketch so intensely, you shall burn a hole in it. Or perhaps you're going to claim there's a contradiction in it somewhere. This arm is the final clue left by the professor. Even after turning to gold, he was pointing out something important. Namely, the key to solving this case. Well, Defender, do you see any problems in the locations as marked on the sketch? There is a problem. Of course there's a problem. Psh! And where would that be, precisely? The professor's arm has armed me with some vital evidence. Haha. Great pun, Phoenix. Its location leads to a huge contradiction. In that case, why don't you enlighten us and show us this so-called contradiction? What contradiction does the victim's arm create? Surely that the staff is behind the arm, so if Maya just dropped it, it would have knocked this over. But I'm scared, so I'm going to save. If they let me, save state.
Got it.
But indeed. Contradiction is right here. And this is the witch's scepter. Let's go over the order of events as per the witnesses' testimonies. First, the witch cast a spell on the professor, turning him to gold. When all of you rushed to the crime scene, that golden statue fell down, making a loud noise. Save states we trust, indeed. Next, the witch drops the scepter. What are you getting at, Sir Blue Knight? All witnesses agree with this order of events. That's right. They all agree that's how it happened. But then there's the arm. Well, what about it? Spit it out. Let's assume that Maya was the witch. He's so sparkly, it's so distracting. Now look at the sketch again. The witch dropped the scepter after having turned the professor into gold. The scepter tumbled along the floor and was found here, as asserted by the prosecution. Not the Inquisition? However, that would be impossible. There's no way it could have been there. Oh, I see now. The arm. It was... I'm glad you seem to have noticed. The victim's arm was on the floor, right here, standing on its end. Therefore, the scepter couldn't possibly have fallen that way. Ergo, it couldn't have been the defendant who dropped the scepter. In other words, Maya's not a witch. Ugh. We got him, boys. Order, order, order. How could this be? The Inquisition's reasoning has been proven invalid through just one single piece of unusual evidence. Call it Layton's magical touch. The professor sacrificed his arm to leave us just the evidence needed to turn this thing around. That was amazing, Mr. Wright. Professor.
Objection.
An admirable deduction, Sir Blue Knight, that I cannot deny. Even if we are to assume your reasoning is correct and that that girl in the cage is not a witch. Instead of the Spanish Inquisition, it's no one expects the Knights of the Inquisition. Exactly. Even if... the many trials I have attended, I have become well versed in certain aspects of magic. I am all too aware of its potential to confuse people, befuddle their minds, and make their memories hazy. No one can resist such a maddening influence. What are you trying to say, Inquisitor? The scepter could not have tumbled across the floor if the arm were in its way. However, can we be sure that that's where the arm was? Are all of the witnesses able to confirm its location at the time?
Objection.
We've heard what they had to say several times now. They agreed that the scepter fell after the victim fell over.
Objection.
And yet, no one actually saw the scepter being dropped. Witnesses, think back to that incident once more. Did the golden statue fall over first, or did the staff fall before it? Think carefully about what you have seen and heard. Everything hinges on your testimonies. May your words guide us to the truth and decide the fate of this caged witch. Why did they swap places? I was about to get ready to leave, but it seems there is need for further questioning. Testify once more, witnesses. Tell us of the golden statue and the Talia Magica. The golden statue and the scepter. I was only focusing on the professor, so I don't remember much else. I don't know. I got there last. Besides, that thing was glittering away, so I couldn't see much else. Objection leading the witnesses, exactly. Mind control. Bewitched by love or beloved by a witch, the poor cove knows not which is which.
Dearie me, I remember. How obvious it seems now. The staff was dropped before the statue fell over.
Girl, you're gonna... I'm about to... Whoa, wait a minute. What you all said just now is totally different from your previous testimonies. Sir Blue Knight, you are starting to notice it now, aren't you? That is the way of magic. Such is the effect the black arts tend to have upon those who witness it. The witnesses are not lying, but simply having trouble remembering the truth. That's just because human memory is so unreliable, guys. Oh my gosh. Barnum, no! What a convenient excuse. Confronted with magic, their brains turn to mush, huh? Ever since our ancestors drank from the fountains of wisdom and obtained the capacity for reason, witchcraft has been the one thing to remain incomprehensible even to the most intelligent of us. Nevertheless, the onus is on us to stand up against magic and pass judgment on these witches. And so, here we are, doing battle with the weapons of the wise. Words. With words we shall pass judgment upon this supposed witch. Defender, you may begin your interrogation and help us arrive at the truth. Okay, is Luke going to be very helpful to us? He does not remember anything, and neither does Amir. I need you to talk, Birdley. You need to say something that I can understand. Would you mind translating your song into plain speech? I shall simplify it once more, just for you, esteemed Knight of the Court. First of all, let's talk about love. It's a pretty neat slant rhyme for cove. A cove is slang for a chap, you see. Do you have something to say? Mr. Amir, you seem to be pondering something very deeply. Wah! You caught me unawares there, Bluey. Did something in Mr. Birdley's statement catch your attention just now? Nah, nothing in particular. I was just thinking. No, his hair rotates. That bard song really got to me. I really kind of feel it in my heart. I appreciate your appreciation of my art. Okay, credit where it's due. He did say supposed witch that time. That's true. That's true. He did. You know, I meant to ask you something. Why don't you become the private bard? You could sing all about the heroic life of Amir Punchbag the First. I could gladly sing of your adventures if it pleases you, kind sir. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Show me what you got. Very well, as per your request. O Grand Amir Punchbag the First, will new fortune quench your thirst? Having bravely filched the golden arm, now you've duped the pawnshop man. I hope my song was to your liking, sir. Ha ha! Yeah, very poetic. Your drinking manner is quite inspiring, but whatever is that skull bottle hiding? So we've learned nothing useful at all. Just that Amir has questionable taste in music. Lovely. Sometimes it is best not to probe too deeply, Sir Blue Knight. Well then, let's just pretend we heard none of that and proceed with the interrogation. Alright, I'm gonna let Birdley talk. He ain't gonna need a private bard when he goes to prison. Probably not. Then we have the word witch and its homophone witch. Right. Next we have the delightful consonants of beloved and bewitched. It is ultimately a song about confusion. I'm confused. Aren't we all? To be honest, there is nothing more to it. It's merely an artistic expression of my feelings. So it's got nothing to do with this case, does it? I'm a well of melodious words and poetic music. That is my only claim.
No way!
Ah! Oh, dearie, dearie me.
Hang on!
Luke, would you like to say something? Oh, sorry. I guess I spaced out a bit. What is it, Mr. Wright? You seem to be thinking pretty hard about something during Mr. Bridley's song. Testimony just now. Is there something you would like to share with us? Well, I've been thinking about what Mr. Barnum said a while ago. What was that exactly? That humans who witness magic become confused and lose sight of what's real, and they end up not knowing what actually happened. Well, I was thinking Mr. Barnum might be right. And then, it occurred to me that there might be a way. I mean, we do have with us a witness who isn't human.
Ah! Oh, dearie, dearie me.
This situation seems oddly familiar. I asked him earlier if he remembers the events clearly or not. He said he has a memory better than an elephant and remembers everything perfectly well. Ah, that's right. I almost forgot. Luke could talk to animals. Mr. Wright, I know it sounds crazy, but please let me try. Let me ask Cracker to testify.
Ah! Oh, dearie, dearie me.
This is not the craziest we've seen. Should I? I'm stuck now anyway, and the witnesses' testimonies are all over the place. A new testimony would be a wild card, but it might be just the thing to turn this trial on its head. But it's a crazy idea, all right. If I make a mistake now, it'll put me in a tight spot. It's okay, Phoenix, we trust the parrots. Parrots are very reliable witnesses, we know this. Defender, are you still with us? This is not the time nor place for daydreaming. What do you intend to do? It looks as though you've exhausted all means for a counterattack, Sir Knight in Blue. Is it not time you drop your sword? You have no further questions for the witness's defender. I will consider your interrogation finished. What will it be, then? Are we finished here? I've got 0 time to think it over. Better make a choice now. Should I summon the parrot as a witness? Yeah, I love how they brought back this gag. It's beautiful. Let's hear Cracker's testimony. Your Honor, the defense would like to summon a new witness. A new witness, you say? What do you have in mind? Or who do you have in mind? It's a witness you all know, by the name of... Ooh, sorry guys. Mr. Cracker. Mr. Cracker? I know of no man by that name. That's crazy. What if Cracker is male, Barnum? You just hurt his feelings.
Mr. Cracker!
Burb is the word. The defense summons its new witness, Mr. Cracker the parrot. A parrot is a witness. Our favorite kind of witness. This is the witch's court. Joking around will be considered contempt of court.
Objection!
Mr. Cracker witnessed the crime. He saw it happen, and he heard it too. He's as valid a witness as the others.
Objection!
No, no, no! That bird is nothing but a pet animal. Referring to it as Mr. will not change that.
Objection!
Humans are confused by magic, to the extent that they lose sight of what's real. That's what you said yourself, Inquisitor Zacharias Barnum.
Objection!
Not the full name. Calling me by my full name does not help justify such brash foolishness. The Inquisition is against interrogating a parrot. By the way, kind sirs, I suppose you should know that my dear companion never forgets a sound that he hears. See, Cracker is a man. He remembers everything he hears, huh? It's definitely worth asking Cracker to testify. The court sees the situation as follows. The witnesses' testimonies do not hold together. In fact, they are as erratic as that bard's songs. I cannot see this trial getting any more confusing. Very well, the defense may summon this avian witness. Can you believe it? What's up with Mr. Bluesuit, summoning a parrot as a witness? Summoning? Does he mean like how the familiar was summoned? By hook or by crook, I'll do whatever I can to save Maya. Be it summoning a parrot or a familiar, whatever it takes. Within the boundaries of the law, of course. Because Phoenix is a good, law-abiding citizen. We know this. Oh, look at how cute! Alright, witness. Not so fast. I hardly even know where to begin, but... First of all, what's the matter with that boy? He looks so pleased with himself. He looks like a cat that got the cream. Ah, that'd be me, wouldn't it? Don't mind me. Just think of me as a perch for Cracker, that's all. And just what is the purpose of questioning a bird? A parrot may be able to repeat what others say, but it cannot talk on its own. It's precisely because Cracker doesn't talk in his own words that he's certain to tell us the truth. What? Cracker remembers every sound he hears, even just the once, with absolute perfection. So let's have him testify exactly what he heard. And if Cracker can repeat every sound, I'd say this should be a valuable testimony. I cannot believe this is happening. Question him already. A witness that cannot talk will not lie either. This idea is much to my liking. Get wrecked, Barnum. He's not a believer. Well then, may our new witness Cracker testify to the court. We wish to know exactly what you heard from the beginning of the incident. Let's go. The golden statue and the scepter.
Objection!
What is this now? Why, those are the sounds of the incident. Exactly as Cracker heard them. Ludicrous. Evidently, this is nothing but a farce after all. What do you mean, Inquisitor Barnum? I must admit I found the parrot's testimony quite impressive. Even if that bird can accurately recall the sounds, it is clearly useless when it comes to the order of events. You mean there's a problem with the order? First, the witch used magic to turn the victim into gold. Then the witnesses arrived. It is reasonable to assume they cried out in terror when they did so. And yet, this testimony does not accurately convey such an order of events. It starts with a sudden scream, followed by the door abruptly opening, and then a witness crying out. Next we hear the victim, having turned into gold, falling down. So far so reasonable. But the real issue is as follows. The parrot seems to think the witch cast her spell after the witnesses entered. Such a suggestion is inconceivable. The reason is simple. At the time, the victim had already been turned into gold. Ah! Indeed, it is as you say, Inquisitor Barnum. The parrot's capacity for imitation is excellent. I will concede that its testimony does have some entertainment value. However, this animal's testimony cannot be allowed to stand as proof in this honorable court of law. Don't write Cracker off just like that! Do you now see how foolish you were to summon this parrot as a witness? Ugh, not good, Phoenix. Not good at all. Should I really go through with this cross-examination when it feels like everyone in the court is against me? Yes! We cross-examined the parrot. The defense wishes to cross-examine the witness. What? Are you serious? Did you not hear what I said? Are you choosing to ignore my words? Yes. A witness that cannot talk cannot lie either. This parrot's testimony is the naked truth. He's simply repeating the sounds as he heard them. It's humans who make assumptions about the meanings of those sounds and arbitrarily decide whether the testimony is good or not. But as knights of the court, shouldn't we be striving to uncover the truth to which this parrot holds the key? The truth, you say? Very well. Show us the truth that this bird purportedly knows. Interrogate the parrot. Meanwhile, I shall enjoy the show. Will you? Will you do it, Mr. Wright? Do you think it's hopeless? Defender, you may interrogate the witness. Alright. We're about to interrogate another parrot, guys. That's the magic incantation, isn't it?
Objection!
Preposterous. At this stage, the victim was already on the floor. The transmutation spell had to have been used much earlier than that. I wonder. Luke, what about you? Did you hear the incantation too?
La 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 la!
Not the la 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 la. Excuse me, Mr. Birdley. How may I help you, sir? I'd have been meaning to ask this before, but why are you still on the witness stand? Are you suggesting I should leave my dear partner alone with strangers who cannot even sing? Huh? The very sight of Cracker causes the finest of songs to effortlessly form in my mind. Stilton, cheddar, smoked cheese. I like my crackers with any of these. That was the Cracker song. Is it not crisp and full of flavor? Right. Anyway, would you mind remaining quiet for the rest of Cracker's cross-examination? I suddenly got the munchies. Continue the interrogation. The slap is so funny.
Hold it!
Okay.
Objection! La 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 la!
I'm sorry. I can't seem to remember. After I saw the professor in that state, my memory of what happened next just isn't clear. I'm sorry, Luke. I know this is very painful for you. Anyhow, the important thing is that incantation. Somehow, I get the feeling there's something odd about it. It just doesn't seem quite right. Do you think there's anything important in Mr. Cracker's testimony? There does seem to be a fundamental problem with what he repeated. Why would the incantation come after the professor was turned to gold? But Mr. Cracker can't tell lies, right? Yeah, he can only repeat the sounds he's heard. Maybe we're just misinterpreting Cracker's testimony. For the time being, let's have another look at the court record and the Grand Grimoire. Yes, of course! Okay, do I submit the Grand Grimoire? Is that what you guys want from me? Clang! And we're gonna save state 2 because I can. We're going to present Grand Grimoire.
Objection!
Alright. There's a critical contradiction in this testimony. We're all aware of that, Sir Blue Knight. The contradiction is between your so-called desire to find the truth and the fact that you are interrogating a parrot. That's crazy. That's not what I'm talking about, Inquisitor. There's a contradiction here that makes one thing particularly clear. The fact that we have clearly all made a wrong assumption. How so? Luke, can you ask Cracker to repeat the incantation once more? Right you are! Oh no, they're so cute! Cracker is so cute, he's baby. Godor! Godor! Godor. According to the Grand Grimoire, the name of the gold transmutation spell is Goldor. Now, Inquisitor, it would seem to me that the spell we've just heard is in fact a different one entirely. Well, I'd never. Unbelievable. Goldor and Godor.
Objection!
This is ridiculous. That wretched bird must have misheard the incantation.
Objection!
Cracker is able to imitate sounds perfectly. The incantation was indeed misheard, but only by the people hearing it.
Objection!
The victim was already found in his golden state. That is proof enough that the Goldor spell was used.
Objection!
But you're forgetting that Cracker heard this incantation after the spell had already taken place. Which makes it entirely possible that this Godor spell was used as well. In other words, another spell besides the gold transmutation magic must also have been used. Another spell that we haven't yet considered. Now, the next question that needs to be asked is, just what is this Godor spell?
Objection!
Utter foolishness. This is absurd. As convenient as it would be for you, there is no way that a spell by the name of Godor exists. Oh, Mr. Wright! Huh? What is it? I found it! The page about the spell, Godor. It's listed in the Grand Grimoire, right here! It exists? What? Cracker the goat. Order, order. I demand order. Just like I thought, Cracker remembers it exactly. But then, what kind of magic is this Godor? Well, my lord, the Grand Grimoire describes it in the following way. Godor creates a portal on 2 sides of green-colored walls. The portal will disappear after 5 minutes. It's a portal on green-colored walls. A portal spell. Godor. Portal spell. Creates a portal on 2 sides of green-colored walls. The portal will disappear after 5 minutes. Well, well, well. Aren't you a lucky man? It appears even the Grand Grimoire is on your side. However, there is a fatal flaw in your explanation. Huh? What flaw is that, Inquisitor? It is really quite simple. Think back to how the alchemist's study looked at the time of the incident. It's green right there! Do you remember any green walls? Because I do not. There were none. All the walls were coated with white plaster. In other words, it was impossible to use Godor in that room. I too have visited the alchemist's study since the incident. I remember very well that all the walls in that room were a dull shade of white. Your little theory was interesting, Sir Knight in Blue, but it has proven to be nothing more than that. A mere wild guess. As long as you cannot prove that this Godor spell was used, your little theory shall be considered no further. In all honesty, I was very surprised to learn of such a spell's existence. However, as long as it was impossible to have used the spell at the crime scene, your deduction leads us nowhere. Let me ask you now. Yes, Your Honor? Do you, perchance, have any proof that you could show us? Can you prove that it was feasible for the witch to have used Godor in that room? This is no coincidence. That spell must have been used at the crime scene. But do I have the proof that it was even possible to use Godor? This! Okay, yes, I do. It's been on my mind for a while. That inexplicable mark. It has to be the evidence that ties up all the loose ends. The defense wishes to present evidence. Impossible. The determination in your eyes makes me think you would. Now then, we shall allow the defense to present its evidence to the court. Present the proof that the spell Godor was used at the scene of the crime.
Take that!
The walls in the study are coated with white plaster. Not all of them, though. There's just one spot which is green. Oh, there is? I noticed it when investigating the crime scene. Scene of the crime? You may recall that there was a small painting behind the desk. And for some reason, the wall behind it was painted green. It was what? I recall seeing that painting myself too. If we look at the floor plan, I'd say it was around here. Mr. Wright, I'll mark it on the floor plan. Yippee! It's been bothering me since I saw it, but now it's clear what it was. At the time of the incident, a portal opened up behind that painting. In other words, that was the wall utilized for the spell Godor.
Objection!
You're certainly persistent. You just want a portal to be there so much, don't you? The wall behind the painting was green, and that's a fact. Incidentally, I remember that painting well. It was a small landscape piece. About the size of, say, an open Grand Grimoire. Yes, it was about that size indeed. A small, adorable picture. Even if a portal had opened in that small patch of green, no person would be able to pass through it. In fact, they'd just be able to put their arm through it most. So will you please explain how a witch could possibly have escaped through a portal this small? He's right, Mr. Wright. No one could have gotten through a portal that small. Have you anything to say, or are you crushed by the realization of your mistake that words fail you? The portal was too small for a person. It doesn't require much thinking to figure that out. He's calling Barnum dumb. But that aside, a very obvious question remains. If it wasn't a human, then what could have passed through the portal? You've put an interesting spin on things. Why don't you answer your own question? You talk as if you know everything, so please, enlighten us. A small portal was open in the wall at the crime scene, and I have all the clues as to what that could mean. What went through the portal was the witch, a small animal, or something else. No human could have passed through a portal that small. Even a witch couldn't have pulled that off. So are you finally forsaking your mistaken assumptions? I haven't finished, Inquisitor. The fact remains that something else could have passed through the portal. Oh, and just what would that be, Sir Blue Knight? The portal was created after the professor had been turned to gold. The witch had a good reason behind that. She must have had to move something through the portal. Captured my curiosity. I'd like to know what passed through the portal. Tell us, what did the witch use the magic portal for?
Take that!
Considering the state of the crime scene, there's just one possible answer. And that is the Talia Magica.
Objection!
What? What is this now? The Talia Magica was found at the crime scene. A portal has nothing to do with it.
Objection!
Oop, my phone is ringing. I'll be right back, guys. I am back. Sorry about that. Inquisitor Barnum, you're making the wrong assumption. Wrong assumption. The witch wasn't trying to remove evidence from the crime scene. She wanted to plant it. She threw the witch's scepter into the room through the portal.
Objection!
You and your crazy theories. Do you even realize what you're saying? If she threw the staff into the room, that means... Exactly. She did it to deceive us. Her goal was to make us draw the wrong conclusions. When the incident took place, the witch herself wasn't in the room. She cast the spell from outside. What? Order, 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 I say. And that's not all. There's even more proof that the staff was thrown into the room from the outside. What proof? That proof is none other than Professor Layton's previously severed right arm. The victim's arm. How does that prove anything? None of the witnesses have testified they saw the witch's scepter. However, a few of them claim to have heard it rattling across the floor. That's right. Please take a look at this floor plan. Since the arm was standing up right here, we know the defendant couldn't have been the one to have dropped the scepter. Now think about it. Where would you need to drop the scepter from in order for it to end up here? Oh! That's right. The scepter could only have come from the small portal created by the spell Godor. This is most unexpected. The witch wasn't in the room when the crime occurred. Or at least, that's the defense's claim. It's the only thing that explains all the contradictions we've run into.
Objection!
Sir Blue Knight, with that imagination of yours, you could aspire to write fantasy stories. A nice try, I must admit. However, this line of assertion is futile. There's a glaring contradiction in your words. Another contradiction? Whatever are you referring to, Inquisitor Barnum? This is the Talia Magica that was used in the incident. As we've established, there are 2 magic gems in it. One for the gold transmutation spell Goldor, and one for the shadow familiar spell Famalia. A witch in possession of this staff would not have been able to cast Godor. Yes, you're absolutely right. But you can't write off all the evidence supporting my theory as mere coincidence. Why must your agreement always be followed by a but? What I'm getting at is, this Talia Magica is not genuine. Not genuine. That's right. And naturally, the one responsible for this deception is the real culprit of the crime. enough of the suspense. I'm too much of a man. It's too much for a man of my age. The defense shall reveal what is meant by the so-called deception. This part of the scepter is a deception. This one.
Got it.
First, I want to clarify one thing. Can we be certain that the Talia Magica in question is authentic? Without doubt. The metal rod in the center is called the Spina or Spina Magica. The witch's mark on its tip is clearly visible and highly detailed. It is impossible to forge, even by the finest craftsmen in all Labyrinthia. I can guarantee you its authenticity. That leaves us with only one possibility. The forgery in question is the Fomalia magic gem. What? A forged magic gem?
Objection.
That is an insult to our investigators.
Objection.
Only witches can use the power of these magic gems, can't they? So tell me, how can you know whether a magic gem is the real thing or not?
Objection.
Hold it there. We know for certain the spell Goldor was used. It is undoubtedly not forged. But what about Fomalia? Did anyone actually see a familiar at the crime scene? That's 3 months ago, when an investigation was carried out into Sir Belduke's death. The results yielded the following conclusion. The spell Fomalia had been used to summon a familiar, which in turn carried out the murder. And the witch used exactly that to her advantage. Another similar incident at the same crime scene. Don't you think that would be the perfect opportunity? For the witch to frame the defendant for her crimes? The defendant would be blamed for both the professor and Sir Belduke's deaths, and she'd be taken for the real witch. Oh. That was the real culprit's objective. There's a chapter in the Magic Archive, an old collection of tales of the occult, about the way to test whether or not a magic gem is genuine. How can we test it, my lord? It is very simple. A genuine magic gem is composed of a mineral with a density lower than that of pure water. All you need to do is see if the magic gem floats on water. That is simple indeed. All non-magical minerals in our world, with the exception of sepiolite and a few other special kinds, sink in water. These eerily sparkling magic gems, however, will never sink when put into water. Bailiff, remove this magic gem for immediate examination. The magic gem's a fake. What's up with this trial? This is not how it was supposed to be. It's all right, darling. Don't cry. You'll get to see a witch burning today. Sir Barnum never disappoints. Hush now. There. That's crazy. Defender, if your theory is correct, this could be the biggest occult crime in history. But another important question remains. I wonder if you can answer it. Who is the supposed real witch that threw the Talia Magica through the portal? The real witch? There's only one person that comes to mind. Frankly, I still find it hard to believe, but it's the only possibility. Once I indict her, there'll be no turning back. Knowing the consequences, should I? Should I give them her name? Mr. Wright, in Labyrinthia, witches are punished by fire. I know you think that's going too far. But even in a world that seems so insane to you, those who take the lives of others must be punished. That's a universal law, isn't it? The witch turned the professor into a golden statue, and that's not all. She took the life of the alchemist too, and now she's trying to pin the whole thing on Maya. I just can't let her get away with that. Well then, defense, let us hear your theory. Who is the witch responsible for using Goldor and then throwing the scepter through the resulting portal? I'm sorry.
Take that.
When you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be true. There's only one logical possibility. It has to be that person. The real witch is Jean Grey Earl. Grey Earl? I've heard that name somewhere. Wait, isn't that the butler who served Sir Belduke? That's correct.
Objection.
Psh, what is this about? You seem to love rolling out these ridiculous suggestions, but you ignore the obvious. Jean Grey Earl is male. Inquisitor Barnum, tell me one thing. Is it only females who could be witches? No, 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 my baby. I'm sorry. Are you daft? Of course it's only females. But, like, why though? Never in the history of this court has there ever been a male witch. You're so utterly ignorant. You should be ashamed of yourself. Take it back. I can't. Alright, well, I'd like to ask another question. Is Jean Grey Earl really a male? Mm-hmm. What? What a ludicrous question. The defense is certain that Jean Grey Earl is the witch responsible for using magic on Professor Layton. No, our baby deserved better. I know, but we gotta. It's for progress. Will you stop fooling around? This is a groundless accusation.
Objection!
Groundless, you say? I'm afraid that's where you're wrong. At the time of the crime, Jean Grey Earl was in the room next to the alchemist's study, and one of the walls in that very room was painted green. It was? What's more, that green wall was the one adjacent to Sir Belduke's study. What? This is madness. Visitor Barnum, quickly, have the butler summoned to the court. Have Jean Grey Earl brought here immediately. Certainly, my lord. It shall be done.
There is no need for that. I am here. I shall come down right away.
Ah, it's you.
Well then, Mr. Wright, shall we begin?
Hi, bye-bye. Jean Grey Earl. It seems this trial has turned into a new direction. I think we all need a bit of time to take it in. We shall take a brief intermission. Inquisition, defense. Sharpen your swords and wits to prepare yourselves for the next stage of this battle. Yes, Your Honor. It shall be done, my lord. By the time we resume, the examination into the magic gem should have ended as well. Now, the court is adjourned for a brief intermission. Ooh, okay. I think my voice needs a break. So, we will save here. And then we'll do some drawing. My voice is so weak. Why must you be so weak?